What else were we watching this week? Yes, you know what I don't have as positive thoughts about? The Flash. Um, we this week's episode was quite divisive, and I say that as someone who loves the show an awful lot. I feel like I could probably save parts of this for roast and toast, but I mean, I'm on a rant now, so let's go with it. The Barry and Captain Kramer were trapped in CCPD while Goldface invaded. They had all had metacuffs put on them so they couldn't use their powers. Meanwhile, Captain Kramer wanted a direct line to the Flash, basically like the bat phone from the 60s Batman, so that she could keep in contact with him and like so they could fill out paperwork together, know what each other are up to, and so she could call him whenever she needed him. And so this was a chance for them both to learn from each other, but she didn't know he was the Flash. Long story short, they do learn from each other. Barry helps her understand her powers, and she stands up to save the day. And the two of them end up stopping Goldface together. And in the end, she actually figures out that he is the Flash. So it made for a lovely moment between the two of them. I thought that character stuff was fantastic because Captain Kramer beforehand was basically just a walking plot device. She had nothing to do. She had nothing to offer the story other than what the story dictated she needed to do in that moment, where she felt like a real character here, a real person here. And I really loved that bond. My issue with the episode is that Goldface was far too corny of a villain. He started quoting Moby Dick and like one-liners when he was trying to hold up the precinct and threaten to blow their heads off at the same time. It didn't line up for me. It wasn't kind of like a Joker kind of Batman way where you're really sadistic, funny and terrifying at the same time. It was really corny. And then on the other hand, the relationship drama between Caitlin and Marcus and Frost and Mark was just so over the top. And basically, I can sum that up in the fact that both Caitlin and Frost's boyfriends have the same name in Mark and Marcus. You can see how corny this storyline's getting. I wish they dropped all the relationship drama because I feel like Killer Frost, that's my roast, we'll get to that later. Killer Frost is such a potentially great character, and the show continues to misuse her as it goes on. What did you think, Sabrina? I am done ranting.
That was the longest 45 minutes of my life.
Oh no.
I was like, and it's not even because I felt like it had too little Iris. It's because tonally it was all over the place. First of all, Allegra and Chester is not happening as far as being a storyline people are actually invested in. I don't care about their awkward flirting. I don't care about her bringing him, I think it was sandwiches from a D&D game. I'm like, y'all wasting our time. This episode is called Lockdown. Unless you're going to be locked in Star Labs, I don't want to see y'all. And as for like Kramer, I'm going to have to let go of my anger concerning her if I'm going to be okay with her and Barry's. What is actually could be an exceptional relationship for him now that Joe has retired from left the force, I should say. But she spent an entire season wanting to end meta existence. And now that she is a meta-human, we're like, I would die for the metas in Central City. And I'm like, girl, you're the reason why these bullets exist in the first place. Like, we're going to acknowledge that just because you went on Iris's podcast doesn't mean that I feel better about you. And
Iris has a podcast?
She does. Citizentopia. She's a media mogul. Read. It's amazing. Yes.
Is she in the Fallon Unlimited podcast network?
She should be. That is how you do a crossover.
Could you imagine?
Oh my God, that'd be fantastic, actually. But like Michael, I didn't care for Goldface. I thought there were some cute comedic moments that Grant did really well when it came to Goldface's character, like that scene when the Love is a Battlefield starts playing and he's like, what? and like listening to his conversation with his girlfriend. I thought that was fun. I'm gonna be upfront about this on the pod. I'm not a fan of Caitlin, and Frost and we ain't friends either.
Ooh.
So I already was going in not really feeling Caitlin's storyline about needing to find a man, mainly because it seems like we're ignoring the fact that she was in a relationship with Julian. Because she's like, every time I decide to be with somebody, things go wrong. I was like, you and Julian were together and nothing went wrong. That relationship just didn't last. But I'm going to sit here and pretend that you weren't with Julian, fine. This is actually turning into a full-on roast. I'm so sorry.
Should we go into roast and toast?
I mean, I guess, because I'm already fully here. I didn't like the episode, obviously. That needed more Iris. She was in the last minute of the episode, and it was just more about her time sickness. We knew she was falling in and out of time. Showing us that she fell out of time was cool, but like, we knew she was falling out of time. We are like, what more is happening with time sickness? Explain it to us. So I'm hoping that happens in the next episode. I am gonna hush now because I don't know how long I've been on this soapbox with my anger, but I'm gonna be quiet.
That's a nice segue to my roast then. I'm so sorry. I'm a big fan of The Flash, but I'm right there with you on this. I know you said you're not a big fan of Caitlin. I was such a big fan of Caitlin in the first 2 or 3 seasons. And I feel like all she's done now is like take people's temperature and like say a funny anecdote in the corner. They're not giving her worthwhile stuff. And I think they could give her worthwhile stuff. I was so invested in her story with Ronnie in season 1. And I'm excited that he's coming back. I'm guessing maybe this is where that story's going with. And if you want to put them two back together, I am all for that. But the journey towards that is not fun, let me tell you. And on the other end of things, Frost had the potential to be such a great character. To me, she was like Black Siren on Arrow, the lookalike of a likable character who was evil, who had powers, who was a villain at the start and then slowly turned into a hero, but didn't get the whole hero thing the way the rest of the heroes did. I feel like she could have been like that wild card on Team Flash, that reckless one that makes the wrong decisions, that like what the walking meme, so to speak, that issues the fantastic one-liners that walks off with the hair flowing. I just feel like they've turned her into such a corny character. And it all started when they made her get rid of the supernatural voice, when they made her stop being less reckless. She's just gotten so like corny, and like that's as far as her recklessness goes. She doesn't accidentally make the wrong choice. She doesn't hate being on Team Flash anymore. She's friendly, and yet everyone still treats her like a child. I just feel like they missed the mark with that character entirely. And if you want to look at how to do it right, look at Black Siren on Arrow, because that was much better handled. And I feel like she could have been that more like vindictive, but her heart was in the right place after learning to put her heart in the right place kind of character. And the arc was fine to begin with. The Killer Frost stuff they did in season 3, fantastic. But somewhere around midway through season 4 or season 5 with the whole, I can stop Cicada, but like he's going to keep getting away from me. That's when the mistakes and the cracks started showing, and they've not been able to repair Killer Frost since. And this whole Chilblain story, I just wish they'd drop it, because Mark is not funny. Caitlin's boyfriend Marcus is not funny. I was glad to see Caitlin get so much screen time, but that storyline was not funny. Just justice for Caitlin and Frost, because I feel like both of them have more to offer the show than what the show was actually giving them, and taking screen time away from the likes of Iris so that you can focus on Allegra and Chester, and in their current predicaments, Caitlin and Frost, is not okay.
A flop episode. Wow.
It flopped.